Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now on with the show. Welcome to the first ever Nuff Said Bullpen. This is where we do interviews, and our very first interview is an absolute huge one for us. Everybody welcome Brett Dalton.
Okay, that's where you keep the audience applauding.
It's
going
to sound like the Stones playing Madison Square Garden when we do that. Trust me.
Right, yeah. And we're on the page. Okay, this is going to be a good one.
So,
okay.
Oh, it is. So, Brett, thank you. I mean, this is great that you're on here. For those that don't know, I can't imagine anybody listening to this doesn't know, you're Agent Ward, which, Agent Ward, you are quite the controversial character.
I know. I think the writers, I'll take some credit. I will take some. But also, I think that the writers have really allowed this guy to be just so interesting and complex and dangerous and unpredictable. I mean, you don't know where this guy's coming from. He does seem to be operating, under his own code, but, what that code is and why he's doing all of this has just been a huge mystery, I feel like, this season. I'm going to give it up for the writers. You can use that same little audio cue for the applause for the writers on this one.
Yeah, this will be the Stones at Wembley that we'll use. So it's a little different.
Okay, all right, yeah, a little different, but something like polite snapping of fingers, like at a poetry reading or something.
Because
a
cool,
golf clap.
A golf clap.
We'll give him golf clap. Yeah.
Golf clap. Lovely.
So that brings up my first question. First of all, I went and rewatched the pilot, and I mean, come on, you're totally like the James Bond of S.H.I.E.L.D. in that pilot, which is awesome, right?
I know.
Did you know they were going to flip you at that point?
No, not at all. In fact, I read something. It was like on a Wikipedia or something. It said, the producers let Brett know early on so he could subtly play this in every scene that he was actually, a spy the whole time. No, that is not true. However, it's nice if people see that in there. But I was not deliberately playing that. I was trying to play, the truth of the moment, as we all do with these scenes. But I had no idea that there was going to be a flip. Marvel's very secretive. Marvel is actually the real S.H.I.E.L.D. And
the real
they
S.H.I.E.L.D.
everything. They are. Oh, well, yes. They truly are. And so, I didn't know until the episode before that I was going to be a bad guy. And then, as soon as they told me that once I could regain speech, because I was sitting there with my jaw open for 20 minutes. But then I sort of just took it and ran with it. And I got to work with Bill Paxton. And the whole thing just was just so fun to sort of paint the town red with him. It was just such a great experience. And I think that it made this character just completely pop. And so I'm just really thankful for that.
Yeah, you know what? There's so much in what you just said. First of all, you worked with Bill Paxton. What a dream come true. I bet that was fantastic for you.
That was amazing. It was amazing. He's got like nuggets of wisdom, and he's got so many stories. He's worked with everybody. He's been killed by an alien, a Terminator, and a Predator.
Yeah.
No other actor in the world can say that.
Right. Did you?
And Mike Olson.
Did you get into a bunch of conversations about that with him? Like, one of my favorite Bill Paxton movies is Near Dark. Did he talk about stuff like that?
No, I didn't see that. I did see the one he directed with oh God, what was it called? It was so good. It had
Is it the one where he's like a serial killer?
yeah. Matthew McConaughey is serial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well done.
Yeah.
So
He's
well
excellent.
done. Love directing too, so he's got a couple projects in the works, I believe. Or he's on the other side of the camera.
Well, we'll spend more time on him when we get him on the show. But this is more about you,
Yeah,
right?
please. I hope you do.
So Alil, before I'm monopolizing, do you have a question, Alil?
Yeah, I know a lot of actors before they get into the role. They do some research, in whatever they're doing. Were before a two-part question: were you a comic book fan or a Marvel fan prior? And if not, have you become one doing any kind of research on Shield and kind of going through the history through the books, or did you just kind of go into the role cold because it was kind of a different Shield than what we've seen in the comic books?
Right. Well, there's a lot of questions in there.
That was more than two,
sorry.
I think.
Well, I had to get them out because it show Rob talks a lot, so I have to get them out at once.
Well, I'll do my best. I was definitely a comic book fan before I was cast on the show. Growing up, we didn't have Marvel. Wasn't the Marvel that it was when the show premiered. They didn't have their own studios. They weren't. They were doing a couple of these superhero movies, but not quite on the scale or like I want to say quality. I don't know. It's just maybe the technology took a while to really get there or whatever. But there was a couple of I feel like Fantastic Four, that was made, and I think it might have made some money or whatever. But it's not the big blockbuster events that Iron Man and Avengers and Thor and all of those things have come. So it was nice to be a part of this new thing that they were doing. It was nice to take this character, which really didn't exist in the comic books. I was hungry. I was like, please give me, are there any other references? Not really. Coulson doesn't even really play into the comic book world. There was this, I think it was called, there's this anthology of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury's there. I did as much as I could, but there's not a lot in the comic books. So that gave me a kind of freedom to sort of, invent this character along with the team and collaborate on that. I never thought, as much as I love reading these things, I also never thought that I would ever be a part of one or that anyone would ever take me seriously as any sort of action hero or anything. I graduated from grad school, it was $165 and super lanky, kind of like a runner's body, really, so I had never even really stepped foot in the gym. I had never done any of these other things that are now being asked of me, and I just took it as an opportunity. Always wanted to ride a motorcycle, and my mom was very scared whenever I mentioned that idea. So, at least now I can do it in a controlled environment, and it's for a role. And all of the other fight stuff, I didn't know if I was a southpaw or an orthodox. I don't think I ever threw a punch other than outside of Mike Tyson's Punch Out on Nintendo. I really did not know what I was doing. So all of this stuff I was sort of, jumping in and embracing as we went. And, I really like action heroes. I'm trying to get to all the questions. I like action figures a lot. I have a collection of action figures as well as a couple of comic books. So that has sort of continued on. Sometimes I'll get really into it and buy a whole bunch of collections, or I used to go to garage sales and things like that.
So have you pushed for your own action figure yet? Coulson's getting his I think
Daily.
Coming out soon, and I think you need one.
Oh, I totally think
you need
that.
a Shield line.
That's when I know I really made it,
I'm waiting for
We're
a
having
Ward
an
Lego figure to come out.
Yeah, and you can switch his body parts so that he's wearing a Shield shirt or a Hydra shirt or just, I don't know.
Well, and you can also do good or evil by
you
can do good or evil by the beard. You can put the beard on and oh no, it's Evil Ward.
There you go. Exactly. Like a removable beard.
All right, I'm starting that
so
on
into
Twitter.
this.
Hashtag Ward.
Yeah.
Ward needs an action figure.
Yeah, we'll be all over that.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Bro is listening to this.
I actually have two questions that are going to turn into 40. One is, you mentioned you collect action figures. What are the lines you like? Because we love toys around here. We talk about toys all the time.
Oh, man. Todd McFarlane really changed the whole action figure world. And I remember when Spawn came out, and that was, obviously, it's Image Comics, it's not Marvel, but he, really changed the game with the action figures. And so
totally.
There weren't as many points of articulation and stuff, but they all had those, bases that you would stand them on, and they'd have little bullet shells on them.
So do you have a lot of those?
I have a lot of those. He's done so many different series. I think my favorite is probably the Twisted World of Oz that he has.
Oh, those are fantastic.
It's so legit. He rewrote the whole Wizard of Oz thing and made it completely dark. And he did the monsters for a while. I have the whole collection of the monsters. He did, I think, Series 1, Series 2. He might have had more after that. But the Frankenstein, and they were all reimagined, and they had these little like an operating table, and then he had the background of all the little hooks you could hang the instruments on and stuff. Just so detailed, man. It's a whole little world.
Yeah, I've got all that in the Kiss, the Psycho Circus. Do you ever pick those up?
Yeah, Psycho Circus. I didn't pick any up. Yeah, they're works of art. They're really works of art. And I have a couple played in my office, actually, just because, I'm learning lines or something, and there's, I'm looking at, a figure right there, and it's just kind of just go into that world. It's really cool. That's the dorky side of this particular podcast.
That's the dorky side?
That's me going in there. Yeah.
Come on. Brett, you met me at the Comic-Con. You know there's definitely a dorky side going on here. So you got...
And here we are.
Yeah, right. You got a Master's of Fine Art at Yale, is that right?
I did, yeah.
So I got a question about that. Was your intention to go into acting, voice, or directing? What was your kind of thing? I mean, obviously you've ended up an actor, and I'm sure you've got aspirations beyond that, but what was it?
Yeah, I always wanted, I'm not saying that I always wanted to be an actor, but when I went to grad school to get my MFA, that's a conservatory training. You happen to get a school MFA, and it happens to be from an Ivy League school. It could be from anywhere. A lot of the master's programs like that, Yale, NYU, Juilliard, all of those things, you're not sitting around writing essays or anything about acting. You are in the classroom in your sweatpants, rolling around, getting in touch with your voice and your instrument.
That sounds like us podcasting.
Hardcore training. Yeah, there you go. You're in your sweatpants too.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So I auditioned twice actually, and the second time I got in, and then I think from there they teach you how to be a theater actor, and they give you every tool imaginable, probably more than you may ever be asked in the real life outside of that. They sort of stretch you further than you think that you could go. There's even projects where you're sometimes you'll play like Juliet for one project or something if they feel like, this is a complete opposite of you. I want you to play this thing for this particular, kind of the experiment of it all, and to find the truth in that. And so, I don't think I'm going to be asked to play Juliet. Although you never know.
Well, you are working for Joss Whedon. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So I always thought that I was just going to be a theater actor. And I was in New York, and I would get close to things, but I'd get really close to things, but I never got anything. And so all of my work, the people that said yes were the people in TV and film. And so I just sort of went where the yeses were. And then I got this really big break, and that moved me to LA, and here we are, hopefully on the verge of the third season of this show. That would be really, really cool.
You know what? I can't imagine that you're not. I'm sure of it. And, when you were talking about the way they're stretching you, even on the show, the name that is popping up to me is not BJ Britt. He's dead on there now. Is Ming Na. What the heck? Ming Na is, every episode, I'm amazed at what they're doing with her.
Oh, yeah. It's true. And she doesn't talk a lot. But there's a lot that she says without saying anything.
Yeah.
And we've heard about this incident in Bahrain, whatever. And now, in the last episode, we got to see her ex-husband, and we got to see her, dare I say, smile, giggle, even.
Interesting. No. Wait a minute, Brett.
Yeah.
You mentioned the smile. That first, I think it was the first episode of this season when she was at the party and she laughed. And Clark Greg's like, was that a laugh? That was one of the highlights of the season. It was so funny.
I agree. That was so good. And if you know Ming-Na, she's so unlike that character. You sort of realize how good of an actress she really is. Because she is just, you could not paint a more opposite portrait of character and actor playing them.
Yeah.
Her laugh is that, I think that might have even been her real laugh.
Oh,
but her laugh,
really?
You know it, like you're shooting in stage 14 and you hear her laugh on stage 16, and she is such the life of the party, and so I don't know, so light.
Yeah.
And whereas May is just kind of so heavy, and it's really fun to see her drop in. She'll be laughing in between takes, and all of a sudden, she'll go straight into it. It's
time to start kicking butt, right?
yeah, exactly. Now it's time.
I'm monopolizing. Lil, did you have more questions?
Always. You always are. One question that I like to ask in a lot of the interviews that I get, and you're a character in this universe, but let's just say that war did not exist, and if you can have one role in any kind of movie that's geeky or comic booky, if it is to play the Terminator or whatever, what would that be? What would be like a dream geek role that you would just start freaking out about? I know we've heard of other actors who've gotten to play, Spider-Man, and how much Robert Downey Jr. loves to play Iron Man. What role would just get you freaking out about? And it could be a role that's already cast. I mean, if you want to be Captain America down the road, or if it would be a dream that you could have been Captain America or something like that.
Right. Well, Star-Lord is pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Nobody can play it quite like Chris Pratt, but man, he looks like he's having so much fun. And that was, I think, probably my favorite Marvel film, other than maybe Avengers, was Guardians of the Galaxy. It was such its own, kind of the redheaded stepchild. It was so, the soundtrack was so crazy, and the colors were so, crazy. It was his own world, and nobody knew who these characters were before, and now it's I think one of their most popular movies that they've made. I don't know. I know that I could go the geek route and say something like one of the superheroes, but I think it'd be fun to play Bill or Ted in a remake of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's awesome, Brett. That's awesome.
All right.
I tell you what, if we do a remake, if our group does a remake of Bill and Ted, you are the first guy called.
Uh-huh. Oh, fantastic! Please, yeah.
you're booked. Clear your calendar. I'm going to go submit it to IMDb.
Done.
So
please do.
We've only got a minute left here. I want to ask a couple things real fast. One is, what have you got coming up? What do you want to talk about?
Wait, say that again.
Well, what have you got coming up? I know you've got a couple on IMDb. It shows that you did a voice for Until Dawn, which looks really cool. It's a cool video game, and then you've got The Tourist coming out. Have you got anything else coming out, or is that really what's on the horizon right now?
There's a film. I'm not sure how much I can talk about it, but there is a film that I'm shooting this summer, which is the biggest budget film that I've done, and that looks like it's already possibly getting distribution. So I'm in a really good place. I'm kind of booked out until May 2016, which
awesome.
My agent manager keep reminding me of, because they're like, you just you're good, okay? Just sit tight and enjoy this fact, because it's not every day that people are booked out for the next year. So
yeah, that's great. Well, and now you're booked out further because we're doing Bill and Ted. So.
And Bill and Ted, and of course with all of the promotional stuff we're doing with the action figures that we have going. Of course,
That's right.
We got a whole business. We're now in the Brett Dalton business here.
That's right. I got to get his Funko Pop ready, everything.
Yeah. So, all right, Brett, I know your time is up. We would love to have you back again sometime, but thank you so much, and we love you on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for saying that. I think we got some incredible things coming up too. We know how to do a season finale. I'll tell you that, and we got some just amazing stuff that's going to blow people's minds. So, keep watching. And I'm on.
And this next week is a big episode for you, I think.
Yes. Well, it's the first time you've seen me since we've got back on air this year. We had the hiatus with Agent Carter, and then I was off for 3 different episodes. So this is Ward's big return.
Yeah. Oh, it's exciting. Thank you again so much, Alil. If you want to wrap up.
Yeah, no, thank you again. We appreciate this, and this is, like Rob said. I mean, we love you on the show. I mean, you give us somebody to love and hate at the same time. It's like you did that. And you're like, oh, how could you? But then it's like you're doing something else cool in the background, and we love it. So I mean, keep it up. And
good. Good job. Accomplished.
Yeah, you're definitely a favorite. Right. Thanks again, Brett.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you again real soon, guys.